Poll workers needed. San Diego County is putting out a call for people who want to help on Election Day, especially if they're bilingual.
The money's just gone. There's no plan B the next day to keep those projects going.
Prop 6 and the impact on San Diego. A closer look at what's at stake as voters decide whether to repeal the gas tax increase.
It was just hard to see him on camera and know that through his smiles there was something deeper.
From success to tragedy, a young filmmaker tells the story of a local basketball player who took his own life after leading his team to a championship. And a new strike by UC healthcare workers as they try to secure better pay and benefits. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The general election is 2 weeks away and a lot of work is needed to ensure a smooth process at the polls. KPBS reporter Priya Sridhar tells us the Registrar of Voters is still looking for hundreds of poll workers to help out.
All right, it's 7 o'clock a.m. and it's time to step outside and announce that the polls are open, right? So let's do this together. Hear ye, the polls are now open. Woo!
At This American Legion in La Mesa, about 36 people, some newcomers and some veterans, are training to be poll workers in this year's election.
It sounded like it would be a really cool experience to see how it works in preparation for when I get to vote in the future.
Savannah Barrett is one of almost 2,000 high school students in San Diego County who signed up. They make up almost a third of the approximately 6,500 workers needed to man the polls this November.
So we show them how to assist the voters in the different kind of situations that can happen to them. And then they also need to account for their ballots. So we show them the processes that we use in the ROV and actually how to use their manual to accomplish these things.
With only 2 weeks left until Election Day, the Registrar of Voters is still looking for almost 400 bilingual poll workers. They receive a stipend of $75 to $175 and can receive an additional $15 for language skills. The county says right now they're especially looking for people who are fluent in Chinese, Spanish, Filipino, and Vietnamese.
And so if a voter comes in and they're speaking English as a second language, it's wonderful if we can present them with, a ballot and a person, the whole process in their language. You can imagine how much more comfortable you are if you really understand everything that's going on.
The workers are required to take a 60 to 90-minute online course and attend a 2 to 3 hour in-person training like this one, depending on what job they're assigned to do. For many volunteers like Bonnie Asserson, it's a way to serve and engage in her community.
Over the years, and if you work at the same polling place, you end up seeing the same people all the time, and they become friends after a while.
They say they're excited and prepared to make democracy work in this election. Priya Sridhar, KPBS News.
One of the propositions we've covered closely is Proposition 6, which would repeal an increase of the state gas tax. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen shows us what's at stake locally in San Diego.
Yes on 6! Yes on 6!
A few dozen supporters of Proposition 6 rallied in Mission Bay last week at the kickoff of a statewide bus tour. The face of the campaign is conservative talk radio host Carl DeMaio.
So what I need each and every one of you to do is commit today to taking a number of lawn signs. Take as many as you can. Take them back to your neighborhoods. Give them to your neighbors. You're going to be the most popular person on the street, I can tell you right now. Everyone wants them.
Prop 6 would repeal a law passed last year that raised the state gas tax by 12 cents per gallon and increased vehicle registration fees. Prop 6 would also require voter approval for future gas tax or vehicle fee increases. DeMaio says Caltrans and state lawmakers can't be trusted to spend the money effectively.
We want our roads fixed. A yes vote on Prop 6 is the only way to really fix the roads, because what we're saying to the politicians is, we know you're lying to us. We know that you already have enough money. and we're not giving you a single penny more until you fix our roads with the existing money.
More on how the state spends gas tax revenue in just a minute. The groups fighting against DeMaio to keep the gas tax hike include conservative groups like the California Chamber of Commerce and liberal interests like organized labor and environmental groups. I try to ask DeMaio about his opponents, but he quickly dismisses them.
They're all Sacramento interests. They're all Sacramento interests. Sacramento interests. The Sacramento interests. The Sacramento interests who are feeding at the trough. The Sacramento interests. If you're a lobbyist or a politician, you love raising taxes. If you're a member of a working family, you realize the cost of living in California is too high, and you don't want to throw good money after bad.
So why did the state legislature raise the gas tax in the first place? Well, the gas tax is a flat per-gallon fee. It's not a percentage like the sales tax. Before last year, the state hadn't raised the gas tax since 1994. The orange line here shows how much the gas tax would be if it had been pegged to inflation back then. The blue line shows how the gas tax actually stayed flat until last year. Because of inflation, the gas tax revenue has been spread thinner and thinner. There are also more cars on the roads nowadays, driving longer distances, adding to the stress on our infrastructure. And cars are getting more fuel efficient. Hybrids and electric vehicles contribute just as much to the wear and tear on roads and bridges, but they pay far less into the gas tax fund, which pays for repairs.
This particular bridge was built in 1933.
Catherine Hill works for the League of California Cities, which opposes Prop 6. I meet her at a bridge on Pacific Highway that goes over the San Diego River and Friars Road. It's one of more than 60 bridges in San Diego County deemed structurally deficient by the federal government. It's one example of the backlog of infrastructure repairs that Hill says Prop 6 would exacerbate.
Currently, the funding that is going through, that is in jeopardy if Proposition 6 passes, is earmarked specifically for transportation funding. It's money that we haven't had before, and it's money to help alleviate the $130 billion in unmet needs that the entire state has. Those funding sources are now in the street, on the roads, doing repairs as we speak.
The extra gas tax money is paying for street resurfacing, increased public transit operations, and highway improvements across San Diego County. Hill says, with a brief interruption by a passing train, if Prop 6 passes, a number of those projects would suddenly be halted.
The money's just gone. There's no plan B the next day to keep those projects going. And we're back to square one. We're going backwards. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to fund these needs. And as we're trying to figure out how we meet those needs and keep the train running on time, then our infrastructure is going to continue to crumble.
We have more than enough money to fix roads if the politicians would just actually put the money into the roads.
The state does have controls on how it can spend gas tax money. Voters in June approved Prop 69, which locks in the extra gas tax money for transportation uses only. DeMaio dismisses that and hopes discontent over gas prices will carry his side to victory. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Tomorrow, Andrew Bowen will have more on Proposition 6 and the effect it could have on the fight against climate change. You can learn more about Prop 6 with the KPBS Voter Guide. We have a link right on our homepage. It's a partnership with Voters Edge California. You'll find information on all of the races and candidates right now at kpbs.org. Local transit authorities are considering a fare increase for services across San Diego County. Zandag, MTS, and the North County Transit District are holding a series of public meetings on the issue over the next couple of weeks. The extra cost would be applied to single-use tickets and multi-use passes. The next public forum will be held tomorrow night at the El Cajon Police Department. It starts at 6 o'clock. Additional forums are planned for City Heights, Escondido, and Oceanside. Thousands of healthcare workers from the University of California launched a 3-day statewide strike today. KPBS health reporter Susan Murphy has more.
Nearly 4,000 patient care technical workers walked the picket line at UC San Diego's main campus and its Hillcrest and La Jolla medical centers. The union employees, including nurses' aides and respiratory therapists, are demanding higher wages and an end to the outsourcing of jobs.
We're just tired of it. You don't get raises when we need to. We're not treated well. We don't like what UC's doing with their pay and their benefits.
UC health officials say they've brought in more than 250 temporary replacement workers to keep hospitals and clinics open during the strike. The health center provider says in a statement, UC San Diego Health's first priority now and always is to provide our patients with safe, high-quality medical and surgical care. Union negotiators are seeking 6% annual salary increases over 4 years. UC is offering the union a 3% raise, along with a one-time payment once a contract is approved. The strike follows a 3-day walkout in May of 53,000 UC service workers in San Diego and across the state. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
Last year, the San Diego City College men's basketball team won it all at the state championship. But that greatest win was soon followed by a greater loss. KPBS reporter Maya Trebosi tells us how a student filmmaker is telling the story and shedding light on the cost of mental illness.
Point guard Darian McLean is back on the court at San Diego City College, where he helped score a historic win for San Diego. The City College Knights had dribbled and slam dunked their way to the state championships.
We all knew this is the moment.
At the Junior College men's basketball finals in the spring of 2017.
Minutes away here from the start.
And the Knights in red shook things up when they got there.
Up and in, it's tied at 51.
Then, with only 4.1 seconds on the buzzer, Coach Mitch Charlins huddled the team and drew out a play.
With 4 seconds left, we have to go the full length of the court.
And he's like, D, just get the ball and go down as fast as you can and make a play.
It took 6 dribbles through a wide open lane.
All the way to the basket, flicks it up on the rim. San Diego with the upset at the buzzer, Darian McLean.
Mind-blowing.
I didn't know he was going to get all the way to the basket and score the winning basket.
Oh my goodness!
The first time San Diego won in 66 years.
But never does a play work to perfection like that.
To some, watching the Knights bring home the trophy seemed like a miracle.
That game was crazy. It was intense.
But not so surprising to David Pradell.
I kind of had that sense like, oh, he's good. Let's go to the soccer field first.
As a broadcasting student at City College, David took an interest in covering the team.
This team in particular seemed just to have something special as far as like a brotherhood. When the cameras weren't rolling and I was just watching with my 2 eyes, they're the same way, and they're focused on winning a state championship, even though in the standings they were not ranked. They weren't even considered to even be a contender. Darian McLean, MVP.
He documented hours of practice, games, and interviews.
They were so supportive of my photos, of my videos that I did, and I think they would all agree that the one player that was always going the extra mile was Nate Edwards.
My name is Nate Edwards from Spring Valley, New York.
Number 24, who was 24 years old, was older than his teammates and naturally took on a big brother role.
He was the guy that was like, pick your head up. Like, there's no time to be like that. There's no time to be down. Like, we're in this together.
From an outside viewpoint, Nate Edwards seemed to have it all. A loving family, superb athletic ability, with aspirations of becoming a coach himself.
I can see myself coaching when I get older, after I get done playing. Right now it's time to get a scholarship though, so.
He was offered a full basketball scholarship by Western State Colorado University, and after visiting the campus, decided to take it because the school would help move his girlfriend Amber and their 2 young children.
So they had me contact a lady about a job, apartments and stuff like that.
Nate Edwards and Darian McLean made a pact to sign their commitment letters on the same day.
We wanted to sign together. We wanted to make sure if you were ready to sign, let's all sign on this day.
McLean was accepting his offer to Azusa Pacific University. They picked a day, April 18, to sign their letters of intent together.
And sadly, we never got to that point.
And then that night, he went to his neighbor and said, oh, I need my gun back. And the neighbor gave it to him because he didn't know, something was up.
Nate Edwards sent a final text message to his mother and his girlfriend.
He just copied it and sent me the same thing, basically just saying that it's over, he's gonna kill himself, you know, telling his mom to be there for me and the kids.
He shot and killed himself on this basketball court near his home. His letter of intent was found with him. It was signed.
Nate was like one of my closest friends on the team, so it's like seeing him not being able.
He was struggling, and I guess he was in a dark place and so much pain that his dreams turned into his nightmares.
Now a year on, and a student at SDSU, David Pradell is making good on a promise the best way he knows how.
This idea came from trying to help his family.
He edited a season's worth of footage for a 2-part documentary linked to a fundraiser for Nate's 2 sons.
So every time I would see him on camera, it's just like a whole range of emotions of like it was just hard to see him on camera and know that through his smiles there was something deeper.
A tribute preserved in time of a local team's greatest win and its greatest loss. Maya Trabulsi.
I wish that their journey would have ended with that game-winning shot.
KPBS News.
San Diego County offers free training on suicide prevention and intervention, and a county-funded crisis hotline is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 888-724-7240.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, Turkey's president accuses Saudi Arabia of a savage, premeditated murder of a journalist. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
I hope you enjoyed your day today. The weather is really nice. Now, we do have some extra moisture coming in out of the south. That's creating just a couple of showers across the deserts. Perhaps the most far east of the county could see a light shower in spots, but unlikely. It's probably going to stay dry for pretty much everyone. Now, taking a look at the big picture, California is nice and dry, but there we are in the deserts. Arizona, New Mexico, they're seeing their share of some showers and pop-up storms that could create some flooding issues over there, but it's quiet here. Borrego Springs, 63 degrees. Mount Laguna around 47, and Oceanside reaching 53. You'll notice fewer clouds out there than normal. We have this offshore flow, so it's keeping those clouds away. Mainly clear at 64 degrees. Now, when that happens, we also have more sunshine, and that means our temperatures will be on the rise this week. We have this nice dry air coming down from the north. It will become a little bit less humid in those interior areas, but we're going to see lots of sunshine. So in Borrego Springs, 92 degrees. Mount Laguna tomorrow reaching 66. Oceanside at 76 degrees. And those interior areas like Ramona to El Cajon, mainly in those 80s. And San Diego, sunny at 75 degrees. That's the pattern for the rest of this week. We're staying dry, pleasant, not much going on as far as weather, but temperatures, they're going to slowly bump up. We're staying sunny all week. Temperatures will reach 80 degrees by Friday. It's going to stay in the 80s for Saturday and then cooling off on your Sunday. We'll have lots of sunshine inland, reaching 90 degrees Friday and Saturday. That's warm, not record challenging. By Sunday, we'll be in those mid-80s. And then in the mountains, brilliant sunshine pretty much every day. Temperatures will reach 70 degrees by Saturday. And in the deserts, we're in the 90s. Pretty steady throughout this week with our lows mainly in those low 60s. For KPBS News, I'm Erin Calandra. Back to you.
Dozens of people gathered at La Jolla Elementary School for a forum on racial profiling Monday. KPBS education reporter Megan Burke says the event came after a school email warned parents of a black man acting suspiciously in the area.
Attendees defended their principal, saying she was trying to keep students safe, while others argued the vague description put Black boys and men in the community at risk of harassment or worse. They said children too often only hear about African Americans in the context of crime. Donald Moore is Black and worked as a union organizer in La Jolla schools. He says the email would have put him at risk if he was in the community that day. Moore says one solution is for schools to recruit more people of color who interface with students and parents regularly.
I think they get to see a positive role model, a Black man as a positive role model, instead of, unfortunately on the news, a lot of times all we hear is the descriptions of someone of color in some criminal activity or not very positive.
Nationwide, less than 10% of principals and less than 7% of teachers are Black. San Diego Unified school personnel are more diverse than they are nationally, but it's a problem here in San Diego too.
Knowing that less students than ever, are entering the teaching profession makes it that much more difficult for us to recruit diverse candidates, and that's any large urban school district. So if you look across the nation, if you look at all the largest urban school districts, we're all recruiting for the same candidate pool.
San Diego Unified is developing a program to funnel its own graduates into the teaching profession. In the meantime, attendees Monday pledged to keep working to get to know one another. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
Local leaders from California were at the White House today, and San Diego came up as the president repeated calls for a new border wall.
We either have a border or we don't. We need a wall. We've put up some of the wall. We do it as fast as it comes. The money comes in. We are building in San Diego, for those of you that are from San Diego. They were begging us for a wall. I said, maybe we'll leave it till the end because they wanted it so badly. They're strong politically. But I said, look, let's get it done. And we've done a great job with building it. And it's had a tremendous impact on San Diego. And I'm not sure. I think the people will tell you that.
San Diego County Supervisor Greg Cox was among the crowd. He also serves as the president of the National Association of Counties. As for the border wall, money has not been approved for the entire project, but work to replace an existing 14-mile stretch of barrier in San Diego began in June. We've reported on the migrant caravan in Central America. Further south, families are leaving Venezuela to seek a better life. AP reporter Noreen Nasser shows us their difficult journey across South America.
Every day, more than 650 people walk out of Venezuela to escape the severe shortages and rampant crime. Sandra Cadiz and her daughter Angelis have joined the exodus, risking their lives instead of staying behind.
Because we can't handle the way of life we had there, going hungry. We don't have medicines. We're dying of illnesses.
Many cross legally into neighboring Colombia. Others take their chances at illegal crossings. Those without money for plane or bus tickets walk, like Cadiz and her 10-year-old daughter. But their destination isn't Colombia. They need to travel across 2 more international borders and thousands of miles to reunite with family in Peru, the distance from Los Angeles to New York City. They have few possessions with them. Cadiz leaves behind a pregnant daughter and grandson, but carries with her the memories of 2 dead husbands, including one killed in a robbery, and a son who was shot to death. Their second night is one of the hardest. The temperature plunges to near freezing. Each day brings something new. Cars and trucks ignore the young girl sticking out her thumb. But some drivers will stop to give them a ride. Others give food and even money. They are readily identifiable by their Venezuelan backpacks. Despite the patchwork of help they find along the way, they know they can't rest easy.
The fears are that something will happen to us, that we will be robbed or something.
So far this year, some 142 Venezuelans have been reported missing in Colombia. Many have also become victims of violent crime. Days of walking take a toll on their bodies. They spend one of the nights at an empty gas station. When they collect enough money from donations, they buy bus tickets to take them to the Colombian border with Ecuador.
My body hurts. I want to arrive to my destination to be able to rest at least one day and then look for a job.
Other migrants have also rushed to the Ecuadorian border, finding fewer opportunities in Colombia because of the mass migration. But Angelis and her mother quickly hit the road again. The Ecuadorian government is providing free bus rides for women and children to take them to Peru. After 20 hours, they arrive hungry and exhausted at a shelter at the border.
I don't want to walk a lot because we have gone through a lot of things. But what else can we do? Walk just the same.
I went through 2 countries without money, without anything. I went through them by a miracle from God.
The next day, Cadiz heads to a free medical clinic and gets much-needed antibiotics for her daughter. They catch another break, a ride to the Peruvian border checkpoint. They use their remaining money for a bus ride to Lima. After 9 days and 2,700 miles, they finally arrive at their destination. Cadiz sees her son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter, who left Venezuela months earlier.
I feel very happy, as well as with all the people who helped us.
But their journey isn't over. After a few weeks in Peru, Cadiz wonders if they've made the right choice.
It's been difficult because I can't find a job.
Cadiz and other Venezuelans are finding they can leave their homeland behind, but not their struggles. Noreen Nasser, Associated Press.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.